Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and today I'll walk you through a couple of rounds of Crystalla, which describes itself as a crystalline tile-laying game and is being designed by Joel Sayada, Renaud Libralesso and Pierre Libralesso. Sorry if I'm butchering those names. And Schmidt Spiele was kind enough to provide me this review copy here, so thanks so much for that. The cool part is the rules come in German, English and French, so I hope I don't need to translate as much as usual on the fly, so I will try to use the proper terms that are being used here from the rule books. It plays 2 to 4 players, so unfortunately no solo mode here, but it plays quite nicely basically at all player counts. I do tend to believe that it's a little bit more fun with 3 or 4 players, but it's also, yeah, basically it plays very much the same way when you're playing it with 2 players, that is. So I will set up everything here and then, yeah, let's keep going from there as usual, right? Okay, and here we are. This is the setup for a 2-player game. In a 3 to 4 player games, you would have basically 9 of these, let's call it card areas. So these are piles of crystal cards. In a 3-player game, you would be using some kind of a neutral player. In a 4-player game, every basically piece would be in the game, but we are not removing any cards of sorts. We all start the game with 3 cards. You are allowed to take a mulligan at the start of the game, but in this case, I was actually quite happy with both of the players. I think we can work with that. And we are also starting basically with 2 of these crystal parts, crystal pieces here out. So we have large ones, we have small ones. Doesn't matter how big or small they are, they all have the same, let's say, value in respect to how they score. And that's basically the main thing that you have to explain about this game, is how you are going to score this game. And I think we can even do something very crazy here indeed, because ultimately we are both building a 4x3 grid in each of the players. Whenever we did that, that will be the end of the game. And yeah, you will always place a card. There is no way of whatever discarding them. Whatever you take here, you have to put into your personal tableau here. And again, it's a 4x3 grid. Again, mechanically the game is ultra simple. The one piece that you basically have to explain to everyone is actually the scoring. So what are we trying to achieve here? We have the nice little scoring overview. So this is really ultra clear. I like that a lot. So first of all, we have the tourmalines up here. These are these pieces down here. They will simply score you depending on the sheer number that you have at the end of the game. So let's say I will end up with 4 tourmalines at the end of the game. This will simply score me 10 points. It doesn't matter where those are. I will simply score 10 points for that if they are somewhere laid out in my grid over here. As for the amethysts over here, they want to be in pairs. So basically for each pair that you have in your display, you will score 7 points at the end of the game. Also, it doesn't really matter on where those pairs are. So one purple could be here, another purple could be here. It still counts as a pair. I think you get the idea. Then we have the rubies. That are those. You have to lay out those rubies basically in this kind of pattern. You see that here. And when you do so, you will score 10 points for each out of those. Then we have the emeralds. You need the same shape here. I already tried to prepare that here for the red player over here. So we need 2 more of these emerald cards here. But this whole, let's call it star or diamond shaped form, will score us 23 points. Typically, you will not manage to do that more than once. Could be wrong, but I believe that's already quite an achievement. Then we have the citrines up here. There you only count the groups that you have on the board. So for each different group, you will score then 3 points. It doesn't matter how big those groups are. This is a group, this is a group. If 2 of those or 3 of those are together, it's also one basically bigger group. Then it's 3 points basically. As for the diamonds, you want to lay them out somewhat connected, and depending on how large your areas are, you will score more points. If you have more areas for these diamonds, you will score them also multiple times. So ultimately you want one big one, quite obviously, but not bigger than 7, I suppose, because it's capped at 35 points. And last but not least, we have the Hermitites down here. And that is basically an odd duck. And when you have them out, every other player will score 2 points for each of those. It's basically some kind of a penalty. And there are tons of ways actually how you can somewhat manipulate your display in the end. But I think this is something I will cover when I go through the actual gameplay, which is about to start right now, because again, as I said, the game is ultra simple. Let's simply assume I'm the blue player and blue is the starting player, and somewhat of Kalaha Mankala style, you pick up all the cubes on a card here. You have to have at least one of your own cubes in there. So me as a blue player can't just pick up the 3 red ones here. If there would be 1 blue, I would be able to pick them up. But in this case, we are starting all over here. And then I basically lay them out. 1, 2, and 3, and wherever I land, this is the card I will grab and have to put into my tableau. There are things that you might want to check, because if I was able to build up a group of exactly 2 like-colored stones, so let's say I was able in a later turn to put whatever exactly 2 blue cubes on 1 card, I would gain somewhat of a bonus, I would say. Sometimes it can be detrimental because your grid is already perfect. The same is true if I do that for the other players, and this is where I think the game shines a little bit more with 3 or 4 players, because you have more possibilities to do exactly that, build these groups. But it has to be exactly 2 of the same. 3 of the same is already too much. It doesn't matter if other cubes are in there, that is fine, but it has to be 2 of the same cubes. Of course, we weren't able to do that. In this case, it's quite simple. I will take the topmost card, I will immediately reveal what's underneath it, and then I will have to place this card into my tableau. And because I know how well those rubies, I believe, will score, I will place it like here. Not only did I complete this ruby worth 10 points at the end of the game, hooray, no, I also brought out another quote-unquote group of what were those citrines over here. So this is another 3 points on its own. And keep in mind, or remember, that it doesn't matter how big those citrine groups are. So again, group, 9 points. I will certainly take that. And that's basically already the entirety of my turn. Over to the red player. They have the same decision to make, but right now it's really not a decision. They have to pick up those 3 cubes of their color. So we are moving 1, 2, 3 over here. I think this does work for them. Now, as you can see, we are spreading around. So for example, next time the blue player could pick up those 2 here, because there is at least one of his color there. But in this case, let's grab this card here first. Okay. And we have to also put it into the red player's grid. And obviously I want to complete my emerald down here. One thing I didn't necessarily explain just yet is the tile laying rule. In theory, you can place anything next to anything, but of course you have to think a bit of what's the thing called. So basically, you have to imagine it like it would be standing up, so it will always move down here. I cannot just put this tile in here, for example, or this card in here. It has to basically move all the way down to the bottom. But apart from that, I have full freedom how I will place them. Similarly, I cannot place, I mean, you get the idea, right? But so in this case, I think we will place this card over here. This does make sense. So it helps me with my emerald, and it still leaves me open to place another ruby in there, because it will happen that I will not be able to score everything. But of course, I think that's kind of the art in this game, making sure you are actually able to score each and every one of your emeralds. And again, with these crystalline pieces or crystal pieces over here, you have later on the possibility to somewhat improve or optimize your grid even further. But that's basically already the end of the red player's turn. Back to blue, and I believe blue wants this diamond one, the double diamond one, because it will score me some points, at least potentially. The question is, how do I get there? I think I can relatively easily go there with these 2. So I can move 1, 2, or I can move 1, 2. Again, I will pick them both up and will lay them down in the order I so choose. Of course, I could simply say, no, I will simply pick up this one to go over here. The question is, how do I want to do that? And I think, just to show things to you, I believe I will do it like this. It may not necessarily be the best move, and it doesn't matter which let's say stone I end on the target tile, I will still grab it. But first of all, I will grab this card here. So I will, okay, that's really nice actually. I think, yeah, that's perfect for the red player actually. So I will take this diamond one and we'll have to put it into my grid. In this case, it doesn't matter too much. I could even put it down here, and again, it doesn't really matter. And I think I do want to do that just to make sure that whenever I place down another yellow one, it's separated, right? And for the sake of diamonds, it will already score me 1, 2, 3 sections here. 1, 2, 3. It's only 2 points right now. Really not great. So I really want to make sure getting more of those, because it really can score an awful lot of points in the end. That's what I'm trying to say. But in this case, the turn of the blue player is not yet over, because during my turn, I was able to build at least a group of two, or a group of two, exactly 2 of these of my color here, basically. It doesn't matter if I would have done the same here for the red player, then red would be able to take one of these crystal pieces. That's basically, again, kind of the bonus. Sometimes you don't want that bonus, because whoever creates those groups of 2, or pairs of 2, I should say, they are going to choose. So let's say I would have done this. I would have given one of these crystal pieces to the other player, and they would have to place it onto their tableau. So it can be quite detrimental to some part. But in this case, I think it's still worthwhile for the blue player. I think I will grab this amethyst one. And again, I have to place it onto my tableau if I can. Of course, it has to be the same size, so I cannot place the small one on a large one. I mean, this does make sense. And the only other rule is basically I cannot place the same color on the same color. So let's say I would have taken a green one. I can't simply put another green one, an emerald one, onto this one. In this case, I think I am going to place it here, and I do that. Yes, I know this was worth 3 points, but because I had one purple here, with a pair of 2, at least I will score some more points out of this. 1 is not so great, but moving from 2, it's still giving me only 2 points, but you get the idea. And again, ultimately, I'm simply trying to show you stuff, right? That's what I'm trying to do. Last thing to do is to refill the offer here, and that's one of these citrines, and that's now the end of the blue player's turn. Over to red. I think they desperately want this one or that one here. This one might be actually the better one. Yeah, let's move down here. The question is, yeah, I think I can work with that. No, I think that is actually fine. So we are grabbing this one here. Again, first of all, we have to place it onto our tableau. It's a no-brainer. Red will place it here. So now we did complete this emerald here, but of course there could be ways somehow where another player could somehow mess this one up if they have to hand then something which they can't place otherwise, then it could be problematic. I haven't seen that to that extent that it's really ultra mean, but then again, I'm not really that experienced in this game. Actually, I only played it a couple of times, but for now it's finished. We have placed let's say one of these amethysts in here. This will score us. Oh, I did misspeak here actually. This was even better. That's what I was originally thinking. These 2 ones, these amethysts, they will count as a pair. So right before that it didn't score, and now it does score 7 points. Absolutely. So this was my original thought, and somehow I completely messed things up. Anyway, we have the same situation now for the red player here. They do have a pair of amethysts, but we still have to grab one of these pieces, because I did create, or red did create, a group of 2. These were here already, so we are not looking at those, but during our turn, during red player's turn, they were basically forming this pair here. I think in this case we might be actually okay grabbing this citrine over here, right? Or not? Yes, I think so. We can nicely place this here on top of the tourmaline. Right now the tourmaline was only worth 1 point. This is worth 3 points. I mean, you get the idea, right? Let's replenish. Okay, that's another citrine. And in case you're wondering why I'm so fluent, I have this table right next to me. That's what I'm always looking at when I bring out these cards. Otherwise, I don't have a clue. I mean, these are rubies, these are emeralds, and maybe the diamonds. That's the piece I somewhat can remember, but everything else, I have my little cheat sheet over here. Anyway, it's the blue player's turn. And now, basically, if blue, for example, would be moving over here, we are still grabbing this card, but then we don't have a pair, so we would not get an additional piece, basically, which could be in our favor, actually. Maybe something that we deliberately want to achieve. But honestly, I haven't really looked at the offering. But yeah, this one would be ultra nice, but we are not getting there. We are not getting there. This is really, really bad. Maybe, I really need this, but I don't get it. Oh, that is ultra mean, actually. This is really, really mean. We don't have really an awful lot of options. Oh, that is actually rough. But this is basically how you can also corner yourself a little bit. It's like this Robin Hood, this two-player game from Uwe Rosenberg, where you can also put yourself into a position where you don't get the right. Really a great game, by the way. I think I did cover this on the channel. But in this case, let's do 1 and 2. It's a pair, but it's not the same color. You get the idea. We are grabbing this one here. Now, this is not much better, actually. And I believe we are going to place it like this. It still allows us to potentially put another ruby in here. It's another 3 points for this citrine group over here. Again, it's a group on its own. Yeah, let's do that. Then red. Yeah, I think red wants maybe this ruby over here. Yeah, we can score some points with that. 1 and 2. And this is also where you want to think, do I want to place this here so that blue has to move 2 spaces? But I think I don't want blue to move 2 spaces, because then I know blue could go in here and get the one he needs. So I mean, that's basically the kind of game that you're talking about here. It definitely has some meanness to it, but of course, first you look for yourself, and second you basically check how you can mess up with others. And I just played Azul the other night with some friends and family, and that's same game there, right? First of all, you check what's best for you, and then you suppose, okay, if I have 2 options that are basically the same for me, how can I mess up everyone else, right? That's the idea. So yeah, let's grab this one. Maybe it's just me or us, we are playing it this way. This was this, and here it doesn't matter too much actually if I place it here or here, because this is simply yet another amethyst. We need another pair or another piece of this amethyst in order to score something. No, this is wrong, of course. We have to place it like this, but that's another 7 points for the red player, who is doing quite well, I think. Yeah. Back to blue, and let's do something somewhat tricky, at least I hope. We are moving these 2. We are moving 1 and 2, so we have basically built 2 pairs which we have to deal with. So let's start by taking that card. Oh, and here we have one of those hermatites, I believe, which would be somewhat negative points to yourself. I think they're not an awful lot in there, but they're out there as you can see. But you can still cover them, right? You get the idea. So yeah, let's place this one into the tableau of the blue player. Let's do something like this. So we are somewhat preparing for this ruby, but we somewhat destroyed the emerald here. But fear not, because we have created a pair of our color and also of the red color. I now get to choose who is picking or is taking which of these tiles, and I also choose the order because I created those pairs. I certainly want to grab this emerald here. A new one comes out right away, but let's place this emerald over here. Fully legal, big on big, different color. So yeah, we haven't completely messed up our emerald here. Nicely done. But now we still have to hand over one of those crystal tiles to the red player, and we are totally going for this one. Yeah, this is actually quite mean. Or no, it's not that mean actually, because the red player now has to put it here or here basically. I didn't see that they already had a third one here. So if that would have been only a pair, then yeah, we would have broken up the pair. But down here, basically, red can now really choose if they want to place it here or here. It doesn't really matter. So I think we are doing it just like that in this case. So this emerald will never score, but we have also covered up this amethyst. So the next amethyst that red would take would also be basically not scoring any points. Nicely done. Let's first reveal the next crystal tile. And now I really do have to think what they want to do. And here it took me some while actually. I think we are moving those two, 1 and 2 down here. So red has to take this one. We have not created any pairs, so we still have to grab the, oh, that's a diamond for the blue player. Can he take the, I think he can actually. Yeah, that was not great for red. So yeah, tides are shifting, it seems. So let's grab this. And here it doesn't really matter too much if we are placing it here, here or here. Only if we somehow later on will be able to manage to, with these overlay crystal tiles, to shape something. I don't want it here, of course. I want to keep this open for a ruby. There was a ruby out, but this ruby also came with negative points, which I didn't want at this point in time. So I think, yeah, in this case, I don't really care too much. I don't know. Let's simply do it like this, right? Yeah, absolutely. We didn't form any pairs, so we can directly move over to the blue player. And I think blue is doing something like 1, 2, and 3. Here we created a pair, but we have to take this one. Yes, in theory it's negative points, but we can do something about that. So let's place this one here. That's another 7 points, obviously, for the blue player, but also -2 points, basically assigning 2 points to the other players. Could be even more if you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, actually. Because we have formed a group, I have to grab one of those. This doesn't do me anything right now, because if I would take this, I would only extend this group down here. That's still 3 points. This is only 1 point, but it's definitely better than the -2 points down here, right? So let's do that here. Also refresh the offer. Then we are handing things over to the red player again. And red now really has some real choices. Actually, they could completely annihilate basically my plans, because blue is now in a position later on to move 1, 2 spaces over here, grabbing this tile, which would be quite nice actually. But this is now the thing. Is this the best move for the red player? I think that's always the first thing that you want to make sure, and I think it's actually not. Let me, yeah, I think this one over here is actually the better choice. Does it matter where I will move it to? I don't need the diamond. I think this one could be quite nice actually. I don't want to overthink it, so let's simply move down here. With this, grab this, it's over there. And for now, I am going to place it here. So we have completed this ruby, and in theory, we might have another ruby opened up here. But of course, again, as this game is a little bit mean-spirited to some extent, if you want to play it this way, that is, someone can still mess that up. So we have 4 more turns, and I think I really want this one here. 1 and 2, moving over here. I want this emerald. Oh, there's another nasty one actually. And I think for now I want to place this emerald here. So this could in theory still give me the opportunity to place some more diamonds over here, because down here I somewhat decided to close this one off. So this will only score me 2 points at the end of the game. Not really great, but I think the 7 points here was the better deal, at least I think. As for red, I think we are moving over here, grabbing this diamond for now, and I think we are going to place it just like that. And because I created a pair, I am going to grab this one here. We are placing it. You can just barely see this, but basically we have completed this ruby here. And in theory, there is still some room to maybe extend this diamond space over here. Let's reveal. Oh, that really does work. Okay, that's something that would be pretty cool, I guess, for the blue player. It could be a long shot, but I think let's try that. So we're moving 1, 2 spaces over here. Here we created a pair. First of all, we have to grab this one here. Okay, this is not a diamond, unfortunately. For now, I think I'm going to place it like this maybe. Question is, yeah, that's now the question. Do I want, no, I think... Yeah, I think I created a pair. I will grab this diamond. I will place this one here. So this one is now worth 1, 2, 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next stone would catapult me to 25 points. This is huge. This is really huge in this game. But yeah, let's see if we can make this work. So let's see. Oh gosh. Okay. But this currently doesn't help the blue player, unfortunately. No, it doesn't, but it could work for the red player actually. We are basically 3 tiles down for red, 2 for blue. Oof, let's see if we can work something out. Yeah, I think this is not particularly great for the red player, but then again, they have the emerald already completed, whereas blue didn't, right? So that's 23 points difference right here. So let's do... Is this better maybe? Because yeah, it's a 3-pointer in the end. Yeah, let's try that. Let's do 1 and 2 over here. And okay, oh, that's the emerald that the blue player needs, but I think blue can't get there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, we can't back. And you can't immediately backtrack. Basically, you can't do something like 1, 2 or so. That's not allowed. I think you can backtrack basically when you do a full circle or something like that with 4 stones, but you cannot directly move back from where you came from. So I think this did work to some extent. Let's place it like here. I mean, that's another 3 points because of the citrine. It's a group. And this could be a potential 7 points if we get another amethyst out there somewhere. I take that. And now it's getting crunchy for the blue player, actually. I think our best bet right now is to move something like 1, 2, 3. I don't think I want to give anything now to the red player because I didn't really think this through. Normally I should do that. But in this case, I think we are grabbing this one for now. And okay, we weren't necessarily lucky here. For sure, blue will place it here. So we have now 3 sections of this tourmaline over here. That's at least 6 points. But of course, we desperately need this emerald here. Wow. And I think red really has to do some kind of a dick move now. Because, yeah, we have to do that. Because we know it's here and we know blue can get there. This is 23 points. If I leave it here, that's now where I have to play the somewhat of a destructive game, actually. I will have to move over here with the red player. We are grabbing this. It's minus 2 points, but I still take it. And okay, I think... this is bad luck. Blue will not be able to complete the emerald. So this could have been the winning move for red. I believe it doesn't matter where I place this one for now, because no, I won't be able to create any more groups over here. That's minus 2 points, but I just denied the blue player 23 points. So I think I am quite happy with that. Question is, what is blue going to do about that? And I believe the best that blue can do now is to do something like this and that. So we're grabbing this tile here. Ooh, that's a tasty diamond right there. We're going to place this one here because it doesn't really matter too much. We have created a pair which allows us to take this crystal tile. And by the way, even though we are choosing the tiles, let's say we would have given this to the red player. We choose the tile, but the red player still gets to decide where they place it. So they're not completely yeah, without control. And I think we are placing this tile. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, it was the wrong one. It was the wrong one. Oh, I really suck at this. This doesn't, I didn't see the orientation here. Of course, it has to be something like this. Oh, I completely blew that. Me and 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional thinking even is already bad. Is there anything else we can do? Is there anything else we can do? Yeah, I think there is. Let's grab this one then instead, and we are placing that here because this is not really touching this, or this is another group on its own, right? It has to orthogonally touch this one here. Okay, I think that's the end of the blue player's game. Let's bring out another tile here. Oh, and I think this worked actually perfectly. Yeah, unfortunately. So red is moving over here. not only are we grabbing this one here, of course, so this is yet another diamond, which we have to place here. So now we will score some points with this diamond field. 1 is not worth anything. As of 2, we are starting to gain some points, but it's only 2 points. It's really not the end of the world, but we still want to do something about that. And guess what? There is even another amethyst waiting here. So we will score that one twice basically, and that's already the end of the game. I didn't really play this game very effectively for neither of the players. I think red is in an okay shape, but I totally screwed things up for the blue player over here. I will do the final scoring. There is actually a scoring pad for this one, just to walk you through basically to the very end of the game. I didn't think I would cover the full game, but it's really ultra quick actually, as you could see. So yeah, let me do up the math, or let me finish the math here and announce the landslide victory for the red player. 86 versus 57 points. Not only did they really do extremely well with the rubies, 3 versus 2. This was really such a bummer that I wasn't able to read the board properly. But yeah, the 28 points right here, I mean, that's the main difference. And this is where red was extremely lucky and played extremely mean, yeah, in order to pull up a win here. And yeah, that's basically how you play Crystalla. I really hope you enjoyed my little walkthrough here. Again, in a 3 to 4 player games, we would have 9 piles of cards, so there is a lot more interaction going on. Again, in a 3 player game, there is somewhat of a neutral player, where you're still picking up the stones, but of course you're not handing them over any crystal pieces. And in a full 4 player game, every one of the players will start in their own corners. Then you will typically see a lot more interaction going on, even though we did manage to do some very nasty and cool little moves over here. And that's basically the name of the game. Before I forget, a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. Really can't thank you enough for all your support. You guys are truly amazing. So if you want to support my little channel, you can find me on Patreon, join me here on YouTube. There's a thanks button below the video. I think you can directly go to PayPal. Definitely like and subscribe, leave a comment. This also greatly helps the channel. Really appreciate that too. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And yeah, until then, bye bye.